Okay, so for this section, we are going to be discussing special forms and then an intercepts form of a line. So the first thing is when we talk about horizontal lines, which run side to side, because when we do horizontal lines, they do run side to side. If we picture that on a grid space, every single one of those horizontal lines will have to cross over the y-axis. Okay? So if we take a look here, if I were to draw a horizontal line here, or here, or here, or here, they all have to cross over the y-axis. So these lines are going to be in the form y equals and then a number. Okay. Now, if we're going to talk about vertical lines, okay, these are going to be lines that go up and down. And again, if I look at several of them on a grid space, they all have to cross over the x-axis. So these are going to be the form x equals and then a value such as a. Okay, so those are going to be our two formats that we're going to have for that. So now, if they then ask for us to graph the equation y equals 3 in a regular rectangular coordinate grid space, we know that because we're going to hit the y-axis, we know that this will be horizontal. Okay, so if I have my grid space, here's my grid space, 1, 2, 3. We're going to draw a horizontal line right there, and that is the equation y equals 3. So now we're going to look at the general form of a line. Now, for a general form of a line, this is going to be ax plus by plus c equals 0, and that is a dash at the front of that, not a negative symbol. Now, a and b cannot both be 0. If a was 0, 0 times x would be 0, and that would still leave me the by and the c version, which is going to result in a y equals solving. So it'll be a horizontal line. If b is 0, then that 0 times y will go to 0. And I would have the ax and the c part. Again, a and c would be numbers respectively. So it would be x equals going to be vertical. If a and b were both 0, then the x and the y both disappear. That becomes problematic because then I don't have variables left. Okay. Now, what we're going to look at for this is what's called the intercepts method of graphing. Okay. The way that we start this is we move our c value over to the other side, and then we're going to allow x to be 0 and solve for y, and that's going to give us our y-intercept. We're going to then reset and let y be 0 and solve for x, and that's going to give us our x-intercept. And then we're going to graph those 2 points connecting that line. Okay, so taking a look, they want us to find the slope and the y-intercept. So this is just manipulating forms for 3x plus 6y minus 12 equals 0. So starting with this one, okay, okay, so we're needing to get our slope and our intercept. So we're just manipulating. So I'm going to start by subtracting the 3x to move it over to the other side. I'm going to add the 12 to move it over to the other side. Okay. And then I'm going to divide by 6 because I am trying to get into that slope intercept or y equals mx plus b form. So this is going to be y. Negative 3 divided by 6 will reduce to negative 1/2 x. 12 divided by 6 will reduce to 2. So my slope is going to be negative 1/2. And my y-intercept is going to be 2. So basically, we just manipulated and worked our equation from the general form, got it into our y equals mx plus b, and then we're able to get our slope and our intercept from that. Okay. So now, looking at the next, okay, they want us to graph using our intercepts method. Okay. Now, so we're going to look at 3x minus 2y minus 6 equals 0. And we're going to look at putting this onto a grid space. Now, again, we're going to start by moving, in this case, the 6. Okay, we're going to move it to the other side, and then we're going to be allowing x or y to be 0 to solve for some values. Okay, so here's my equation. Again, I'm going to start by moving the 6. Okay, so we're going to start by letting x equal 0. So we're going to have 3 times 0 minus 2y equals 6. This is going to be 0. So minus 2y equals 6. Divide. I get y is negative 3. Now, if I need that to be an ordered pair, my x was 0. My y is negative 3. Now, I'm going to reset back to here, and I'm going to let y be 0. So now I have 3x minus 2 times 0 equals 6. This part will be 0, so I don't need it. So I have 3x equals 6. We'll divide by 3. So x is 2. If I need that as an ordered pair, my x is 2. My y was 0. Now, putting that onto a grid space, okay, I'm going to have 0, negative 3. So it's a dot right there. 2, 0, so that's there. And then we're going to connect them. Okay. Now, if you're working in MyLab, one of the common mistakes that can happen, or reasons that you might get an incorrect answer for this, okay, is you graphed this point, but you graphed a point back over here. Okay. If it asks you to graph using intercepts, the expectation is that it wants this dot and this dot. Okay. Even though graphing this dot and this one will produce the same line, you didn't provide the two things that it wanted, which was the intercepts for it. Okay, so just a word of caution on MyLab, if they ask you to do intercepts, the expectation is that you'll graph with these two dots, and then it will connect the dots with that. Okay, so one more thing that we have to look at for this, okay, is going to be an application, okay? So this is, they're going to want us to use the data points 317 and 57.04 and 354 and 57.64 to obtain a linear function that models the average global temperature for the atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration in X parts per million, round M to 3 decimal places, and they want B to 1 decimal place. So this is going to utilize a couple of things that we've done in the prior videos, okay, to pull this all together, okay? So here are my ordered pairs. So we're going to start with finding the slope. So this is going to be x1 and y1, x2 and y2. So following y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, we're going to have 57.64 minus 57.04 over 354 minus 317. That's going to be 0.6 over 37. Okay. Doing that with a calculator. Okay, so I'm going to do 0.6 divided by 37. Okay. I'm going to get 0.0162. They wanted M at 3 decimal places, so that's going to be 0.16. Now that I now need to find my B value, okay, I'm going to utilize my Y equals MX plus B format, and I'm going to pick one of these ordered pairs. I'm going to pick this one just because the numbers are smaller. So I have 57.04. My M that we just calculated, 0.16. My X of 317 plus a B. So we're going to do this multiplication. So 0.016 times 317. So I have 57.04 equals 5.072 plus B. I'm going to subtract I get 51.968 equals B. They wanted this to go to 1 decimal place. Okay, so the 9 is actually going to get pushed up, so B is going to be 52. So I have Y equals 0.016x plus 52 as my equation.